It's been 19 years since the September 11th terror attacks in New York City, as well as in the Pentagon and in Pennsylvania. Nearly 3,000 lives were lost that day. And take a look at this. Presidential candidate Joe Biden is sharing an elbow bump with Vice President Mike Pence this morning. Both were paying respects at the New York Memorial, a reminder that we're still living through a historic pandemic and in an election year. President Trump and First Lady Melania also paid respect on Air Force One this morning. The president has a busy day full of several events, including visiting the site of the Flight 93 crash in Pennsylvania. Joe Biden will also be there, but at a different time. So I guess I just wanted to ask Lindsay and Erica, I keep seeing American flags in 9/11. That's what I remember the most. I was a freshman in college, and flags were everywhere, right? And when I see a flag today, I don't know. I don't know if to me, it sometimes feels a little different. I just wondered, what has changed? Can we get us back together like we did in 9/11? Erica, what do you think?
You know, I certainly hope so. I think the difference is we talk about 9/11, and yes, 3,000 lives were lost that day. So many others were lost due to the effects of everything that happened in the environment and certain situations subsequently. And we also lost over 45 9/11 survivors to COVID. So it's really bringing these two things together, where we've lost 175,000 plus Americans due to this pandemic. And I'm hopeful that people will just take a moment and think about what this country is and what we want it to be. And I think that maybe today is a time for reflection, but also for action in terms of what we'll do in the future in order to unite like we came together for 9/11.
Yeah, I wish we could go back to that moment in time in terms of uniting. Lindsay, how do you feel today? Do you feel like the pandemic and 9/11 together, how do you feel about those two together?
I mean, growing up in New York and being there at the time of the incident in 9/11 happening, it's a moment that nobody will forget, but a moment that a lot of times we saw how well we were able to come together. So to know that President Trump is out there visiting Memorial, and that Pence, Vice President Pence and that Joe Biden are all doing their part to put aside the politics and really step together to say we're going to be together and support everybody who's still suffering from this day and the whole country that suffered is important. I think it's an important show of unity and something that we really need to get back to. And if you can't understand it through COVID about wearing masks, and you can't understand it through supporting Black Lives Matter, this is something where you can understand that unity helps us progress. So, you know, get on board with being on the same team as everybody when it comes to helping America just get better.
That's so true. There was a quote that I always think of that says, what 9/11 showed us is that there's not a lot of time, and there's no time for violence. Life is short. And that is from the widow of the pilot of Flight 93.